Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Women's Soccer Show. I'm Sara.
And I'm Allie.
It's international break again. We're very excited. And we just had the Ballon d'Or announced, the Ballon d'Or winner.
Yes, we're very excited, Drum roll, please. And Sara, do you want to do the honors?
Alexia Putellas from Barcelona and Spain has won the Ballon d'Or.
Which I called. Sara doesn't read her show notes, but I called.
She's had an incredible season. She's the Barcelona captain. She's the Spanish captain, I believe. She's super deserving of this. I think this is only good for women's football that somebody not from England and not from the US won it. We know that this is only the third year of the Ballon d'Or, and I think it's really good that it's being spread out across. Just from my biased perspective, I'm a little sad that Sam Kerr didn't win, I have to say.
This is where we're going to fight, because I think that genuinely Alexia got it because of she's had the standout season and the Champions League is what won it. If she'd won the Champions League, then I would say that she would have been the winner of the Ballon d'Or. But she didn't, so she's not.
And I guess I just disagree with that reasoning. I hope that that's not the reasoning why Alexia Putellas won. And I want to first and foremost say I'm very happy for her. I don't know if I've said this yet. I'm very happy for her. She is very deserving. And also, selfishly, I just think that Sam Kerr has been such an outstanding player for so many years, and she has deserved it many times, a nomination that she didn't get many times, and then also now she's finally gotten the nomination, and in my opinion, she is the best player in the world. She is the standout player on Chelsea. She is the Australia national team for 10 years now. She really is. And if we're talking about who has had the most impactful season, I really would have argued that Sam Kerr had a more impactful season at Chelsea and Australia, because it's encompassing both, than Alexia Putellas had. I almost think that the way that these votes landed kind of says that too. Like, Hermosa, who is an outstanding player, came in second. That just shows you how many standout players on Barcelona there even are, and how much more maybe Sam Kerr did for her teams than those two did for their teams. Maybe. I'm just posing this as a Sam Kerr stan, but I fully believe that Sam Kerr deserves this award, and I really hope that she gets it by the time she retires.
I hope so too. I genuinely do. I'm going to say something controversial yet brave. The fact that Alexia won, for me, gives me more faith and hope in the process, and that means that Sam Kerr will get it eventually. Because if Sam Kerr won it this time round, then the argument would have been, oh, they've just voted for the name they know. And we've had that argument before with the fact that last year in the BBC, it's a different award, but the BBC Women's Football of the Year went to Lucy Bronze. Lucy Bronze hadn't done anything that season, really.
Yeah, I mean, I said that about her being nominated this year.
It's true, though. But they've gone for players they've known. I mean, we all know I love Viv. I have a soft spot for Viv. But again, she hasn't done much this season to warrant being fourth in the Ballon d'Or.
Well, so the Ballon d'Or, I want to clarify, it has to do with all of last WSL season, right? And the Olympics, that's what it's through?
Yeah, but the Netherlands didn't do... Like, if you'd said to me it was...
The Netherlands didn't do well.
Exactly.
I agree. I think she had a great season with Arsenal.
Yeah.
But...
1-0.
Not... Yeah, but that was kind of... I think where she landed, where Viv landed in the standings was accurate.
Right.
And okay. I agree with what you said, that, like, this really does show that they're either A, who's voting is actually paying more attention to women's soccer, or B, they are doing their homework and they're not going with just the name that they know, which is great. And like I was said at the top of this, like, it's great for this selection is great for women's football.
100%, because it's weird, because like the first time we did the Ballon d'Or, I would say it for women anyway, it was a player that got it on her playing ability. 2019, we can just cut from the record, because
here we go, everybody.
Because that was not based on playing ability. That was based off of their life outside of the field.
Oh my God, my blood boils whenever we talk about this. I could not disagree more. So 2019, Megan Rapinoe wins the Ballon d'Or, for anybody who doesn't remember. And that is what Allie is saying, that you're saying that Megan Rapinoe got it in 2019 on name recognition. And there was there a Ballon d'Or for 2020?
No, got cut for COVID.
Okay, so this is yes, there was we all know this is the third Ballon d'Or. So we had an 18, 19, and we have a 21. And you're saying that Megan Rapinoe won it in 2019 based on name recognition, and you're happy that didn't happen again this year.
Absolutely. I stand by that.
I just could not disagree more. Megan Rapinoe was the best player. I'm going to use your reasoning against you. Megan Rapinoe was the best player on the best team that year. The U.S. won the World Cup. When you think about women's football in 2019, you think of the World Cup first. That was women's football in 2019.
You do, but she wasn't even the best substitute. Never mind the best player on that team.
She was a starter, first of all. She got the golden boot.
From penalties.
And she was the most... I don't care how she got it. She still got it.
No.
You know what? We won the World Cup on penalties. We still won the freaking World Cup, everybody. She was the best player on the best team, and she was the most impactful, and so she won the Ballon d'Or.
So you're saying that she deserved the Ballon d'Or for one tournament? Because she did nothing for the Reign. Absolutely nothing. She was out injured for most of that season, and when she wasn't injured, she was prepping for the World Cup.
So this does get very difficult, though, because no international player did anything for their club that year. No international played for their club that year enough to do anything impactful. So it's almost like, for 19, you have to just look at international or just look at club, because you can't look at somebody who played across both, because there's nobody who will have played across both enough to be impactful across both.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Alex Morgan.
I was waiting for it.
I don't like Alex Morgan. I don't. But even
I know you don't. It hurts me.
Even I would say that she did more.
You're saying that you would have rather Alex Morgan won the Ballon d'Or, that she deserved the Ballon d'Or in 2019?
More than Rapinoe. If we're going
I was trying to get you to say that she deserved the Ballon d'Or. So this actually is a very interesting question that we haven't talked about yet. Do you think that the Ballon d'Or should include scope of influence across the world of football? Maybe not necessarily on the field, but she brought in so much. She brought in so many fans. She brought in so many people and interest into the game. Do you think that should be included in the Ballon d'Or vote? I think I already know your answer, but I might as well ask.
No.
Yeah.
Is that what you guessed? No.
Yeah, of course.
Because the thing is for me, with the Ballon d'Or, are we asking the same thing of the men's? No.
True.
So Lionel Messi won for the men's again.
Yeah,
again this year. Are we saying that the reason Lionel Messi won again this year is because he brought more fans to PSG and to different places? No, we're not. We're going off of the fact that he is one of the best footballers.
I agree. And I still think that Megan Rapinoe deserved the Ballon d'Or that year. But that's just something that we might just disagree on.
Yeah, no, I completely disagree. But
I absolutely love when we get into these, because it gets so fired up and it's my favorite. I want to bring up a point that we talked about ourselves, and I think it's worth everybody listening to. You were saying that Rapinoe didn't do anything. She didn't do anything for Seattle Reign. And then we went back and we looked at the best 11 for 2019 that year. And I think that this is worth bringing up. And we're going to pull them up again.
So, goalkeeper was Bledsoe. Your defenders was Abby Del Kemper, Ali Krieger, Becky Sauerbrunn, the Brune, and Casey Shaw. Midfielders were Julie Ertz, Lindsay Horan, and Rose Lavelle. And forwards were Tobin Heath, Sam Kerr, and Kristen Press. Okay,
so basically I think it was 9 out of 11 were national team players. People were outraged at the time when this happened, and rightfully so. Like, this is a problem in and of itself. We're talking about name recognition. These players didn't play in the NWSL very much that year. They played before the World Cup and they played a tiny bit after the World Cup, but they had the lead up to the World Cup, they had the World Cup, they had the post-World Cup. They didn't play enough in this league to be named to the best 11, and yet they were based on name recognition, and I love every single one of those players so much, and I want the world for them, and I do think they deserve to be in best 11s because they are the best players in the world. However, they were named that based on name recognition, and that happens a lot, and the athletes who sustained the league in the NWSL, and I'm totally digressing down a deep, deep hole, but come with me.
We're with you. Come on.
The players who were the NWSL, who kept the league going, literally kept the league making money, probably, who literally kept the league going during the World Cup, are just completely overlooked. And it's not right. And so I don't really have a point to draw it back to for the Ballon d'Or, other than there was no way Megan Rapinoe could have done well for Seattle Reign. And also, name recognition across the board in women's football. I would say probably across the board in men's football too, but I don't follow it as much, to be honest. It's a problem. And the more, it really is, and the more spotlight and the more highlights that we can give to players, the more spotlight that women's football gets, to me, what that equals is more highlights for more players and the less problems we're going to have with name recognition.
Yes.
Wow, I really put a bow on that.
You really did, but we're going to finish it off with my favourite tweet of yesterday, which was, so anybody who doesn't know, Vivian Miedema won the BBC Women's Footballer of the Year, and there was a big Twitter battle between Arsenal and Chelsea fans, because Chelsea fans thought it should have been either Kerr or Kirby. Arsenal fans obviously very happy that Vivian won. Mm-hmm. And my favourite tweet was, somebody was like, what has Vivian done? Sam Kerr's done X, Y and Z, done all of this stuff. And the Arsenal fan responded, the only thing of note Sam Kerr has done is pull Christy Mewis. And I thought that was hilarious. I don't agree, but I thought that was hilarious.
Speaking of the WSL, we're going to talk England versus Austria first, because this is international edition, and we jumped so quickly into the Ballon d'Or. Allie, how did you enjoy international break?
I actually enjoyed it this time.
She's coming around. She's already come around, to be honest. It's only taken like 2 international breaks with me, and she already loves it.
One reason, and one reason only, is that I got press accreditation for the England Austria game.
Yes! Woo! It's really
it.
cool. You got press credits for an international team.
It was so amazing, and I like to just quickly brag about it, because I've bragged to my friends and they don't know the people I'm talking about, so I'm just saying names at them. So I get there and I'm in the press room, and there is Susie Rack, who writes for The Guardian. There is Molly Hudson, who writes for The Telegraph. There is Tom Gary. No, she writes for The Times. Tom Gary writes for The Telegraph. On my little galley where we were sat for the match, I'm sat next to Jen O'Neill, who founded She Kicks, which is one of the first women's football magazines. And she was one of the nicest people and was so welcoming and so, encouraging to this newbie. And it was marvellous.
It's like little celebs, you know? It's like meeting celebrities in our world.
It really was. And then to be in the press conference, and there is Sarina Wagman, there is Ellen White, there is Frank Kirby, you know.
And you got to ask them some questions, right?
I did. I got to talk to Ellen mainly, talking about the fact that she's very close to breaking Kelly Smith's record. She was like, I just want the team to win. I'm just going to do my bit to help the team. And then Frank Kirby was like, no, mate, I want to give her the assist. I want to be on the pitch when that happens so that I can give her the assist.
And you are going to be able to have the audio or the video or both for us to post, right?
Yep, I have it. It's unembargoed so that I can post it where I want. So I have it and we will do it.
Yes. So everybody keep your eyes peeled. We're going to see Allie asking questions of none other than Ellen White and Frank Kirby.
So let's talk about this game.
England versus Austria. It almost didn't happen. We're happy we got it. Frankly, when I was watching it, you couldn't really tell that the weather was so bad, that the field was so slippery. It was a good game. It was really fun to watch.
I have to say, one of the highlights for me was you look at what the different players were wearing in warmth wise. So you had Frank Kirby, who was in gloves, long sleeves, was full on, and then you had Millie Bright and Ellen, who were just shirt sleeves, just what sleet, what wind.
I don't get cold. That is one of my favorite parts of watching cold weather soccer. Also, ironically, I had a soccer game last night and it was 30 degrees here. That's 0 degrees where you are to translate. It's the only translation of Celsius to Fahrenheit I can do. It's basically 0 degrees for you. And it was a nighttime game. It was really cold and dark. And you know what? Historically, I've been I'm going to wear shorts, I'm going to wear a shirt, and that's how I'm going to do it. I can't focus when I have long sleeves on. I had 6 layers on top, and I had 2 pairs of pants on. I was waddling around the field why can't I run fast?
So, yeah, there was 30,000 tickets sold. Just under 10,000 people turned up, which I thought, considering there was a full-blown storm, I will take that.
Considering the weather, yeah, that's pretty great. My big overall, overarching takeaway from this game was that this England team is going to be so dangerous at the World Cup in 2023. From how everybody looks, like if you were to just take a screenshot at this exact moment in time, I would say that England right now is probably one of the best teams in the world. And I would put money on them if the World Cup was starting tomorrow to win, because oh my goodness, I was scared looking at the right side of that field. You had Fran Kirby playing underneath Beth Mead, and just in the middle of that, you have Keira Walsh distributing, and then you've got Ellen White at the 9 sitting there in the middle of the pitch, waiting for Fran Kirby and Beth Mead to work their magic, play together, get the cross in, for her to finish, and it was absolutely just lethal.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing to watch. Like, the shout out for me was the Beth Mead and Fran Kirby link up. You'd think those two play with each other day in, day out.
It was so fun to watch. And I will say, though, I do think that England stayed on the right side a little bit too much. And I get why. I mean, it's Fran Kirby and it's Beth Mead. And on the other side, you've got Lauren Hemp and Ella Toone. And Lauren Hemp, a phenom, but no disrespect to Ella Toone whatsoever. She's a great player. She's traditionally a number 9 who played really well at the midfield, but you do kind of look at them and say, okay, you got Fran Kirby, you got Beth Mead, you got Lauren Hemp, and then you've got Ella Toone, and it's kind of like one doesn't fit.
She normally plays Ellen White's position. So, and if you're going to choose between the two of them, Ellen White or Tooney, it's going to be Ellen White every single time.
Of course.
So I like that they're giving her experience and caps and minutes under the belt, but it's not quite the right positioning.
Do you think, the way I see it is I feel like that's the spot. It seems to me that Lauren Hemp's pretty much got her spot on lock, as much as anything can be locked down at this point in time. Ellen White, same. Beth Mead, if she continues her season as she does, of course. Fran Kirby, yes. And so Ella Toone seems to be the one kind of up for contention.
Yeah, you know, I think there's probably a couple, but in that outfield position, I think, yeah, Ella's the one that there's going to be lots of chop and change.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's actually really interesting because you think about England and it's kind of similar to the US where it's like a plethora of talent in the offensive side. But then you look at the defense and it's kind of like there's not too much of a bench there. You know, like who are you really going to sub in? Who are you really going to try out? It seems like what they've already got right now would be a starting lineup that if they had to field a lineup tomorrow for the World Cup, those would probably be the VAC 4, right?
Yeah, which scares me with, and I'm going to name the player, Demi Stokes. Demi Stokes, I would say her international career is over. And she's there out of necessity because we've got no other back players, because Lucy Bronze is out injured, Steph is out injured, because you would move Alex Greenwood to the wing and have Steph and Millie at the centre back. But I think we need to bring up some young players. We need to bring up some younger players for that position, because if we can get that cemented now for the Euros and for the World Cup following, then we've got a great shot. But we're not going to get that cemented if we keep playing a player that's not playing.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you look at the back line, and it's very clear that the back line is kind of where there needs to be some help, right? However, including the goalie in the back line, Mary Earps had a fantastic game.
Kept us in that game. She kept us at the 1-0 because Austria got very confident in the second half. I have to give Austria a shout out because they kept us very tight, very compact. They filled their box, so therefore it was much harder to try and get through to them. And they had 2 great shots on goal, which, thank goodness for Mary Earps. Like, one was out for a corner and the other one she managed to get over the bar. And, yeah, it was something beautiful. So it's just those 4 in front of her we need to work on.
Yeah, that's really true. This is Austria and England. As well as I thought England played, the scoreline was 1-0. So how did you feel, results wise, that you just said there were chances for Austria, and one goal goes by, one time Mary Earps doesn't make an amazing save, and all of a sudden we're not saying England looked amazing. Maybe we're saying, how did they just tie Austria, who's 13 places below them in the standings?
Yeah, I think it is all credit to Austria's defence because they packed that box out, and there are some beautiful videos of Fran Kirby doing Fran Kirby things where she's beat one player, she's beat 2 players, she's beaten the 3rd player, and then she's gone for goal and it's just hit a wall of players. I do think one problem that England have that they need to work on is a couple of players need to be more selfish. Like Fran Kirby kept trying to square the shot off for Ellen White, for Beth Mead, because Beth Mead wanted to score in her home county so badly.
Oh, she did so badly. And everybody wanted her to score too, especially when there's a player who's played so well in the league and then they get into their international jersey. You're just like, I want this for you so much.
But there are times where Kirby could have been more selfish and scored and would have made it tighter. And then Beth Mead, because she wanted it so badly, but there were times where she could have been more selfless and squared the ball away.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think there were 2 plays almost back to back where Beth Mead had the ball and had Ellen White open in the middle and decided to try to shoot it. And you could see Ellen White being like, no. Like you get me the ball. And then the next time Beth Mead has the ball and decides to cross it into Ellen White and they almost score. So absolutely. I mean, I have to ask before we move on from this game, there was a controversial call, or shall I say there was a controversial non-call in the box. Was it a penalty?
I say yes, because for anybody who's not seen it, the player basically got Beth by the scruff of her neck and pulled her down to get the ball. I do think the ref's line of vision was blocked by other players. However, why the lino didn't call it, I don't know. But yes, it should have been a pen. But the refs seem to be very against giving cards and giving things like that. They did give a lot of free kicks, but there was one point where Rachel Daly clotheslined one of the Austria players and all she got was a talking to.
Yeah, that definitely should have been a yellow card. I remember seeing that being like, oh, she's like, that was, if Rachel Daly hadn't fouled her, she would have been off to the races. Like, she was gone down the field. That was hands down a yellow card. So at least you can say that the ref was equal both ways. She was consistent. It gets annoying when it's called one way and not the other, but she was consistent. And now we're going to go into an international edition of Around the World, Around the World. I could hear you whispering it.
Getting closer.
Over to Canada, just north of me. Mexico upset the gold medal winners 2-1, with Mayor and Cervantes scoring to give Mexico the win. This shocking result says everything about how rapidly we're seeing this gap closing in the international game. We are saying it a lot, but we can't say it enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to go to nearer to me, to Sweden. Sweden took down Finland 2-1 on Friday, going ahead early with a goal from Rolfio at the 11th minute. Finland equalised shortly after in the 29th minute with a goal from Stallerstrom. It looked as though the game would end on a 1-1 draw, but a late goal from Hurtig in the 79th minute gave Sweden the victory.
Over to Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland played North Macedonia on Thursday, beating them 11-0. WSL fans will recognize some of the names on the score sheet, including Simone McGill of Everton and Rebecca Holloway of Birmingham City. That brings them to 3rd in their group.
And then Belgium, which shows what we were talking about. Belgium beat Armenia 19-0. That is 1-9-0 in their group match.
Hurts.
This leaves Armenia with a minus 36 goal difference and 0 points on the board. This really does bring into question whether it is fair putting these fully professional and semi-professional sides against the amateur sides, because is it really growing their game?
Scotland were held to a surprise draw against Ukraine. It was the Eastern European side who struck first in the 22nd minute. It looked like they were going to grab all 3 points. However, an injury time goal from Abby Harrison spared Scotland's blushes, and the spoils were shared. That is a tongue twister. Scotland takes on the ever-emerging Spain on Tuesday, who are coming off a 12-0 victory. This game will have already been played while you're listening to it, but it'll be a fun one.
Absolutely. And then finally, we go to the Czech Republic. They were the final surprise result of the weekend, holding the World Cup runners-up Netherlands to a draw. The Czech team took the lead with an early goal from West Ham's own Katarina Svitkova. It was then Danielle van der Donk who levelled in the 51st minute for the Dutch. The equilibrium didn't last very long when the home side went 2-1 up with a goal in the 60th minute. And again, it looked like we were in for a shock result until the Dutch came back with a goal in the 93rd minute. That was a draw at the death.
I will also say, before we end Around the World, Formiga, the legend of Brazil, played her final international match this past week. She played into her 40s. She is an absolute legend of the game. We tip our hats to her. she has done so much for the women's game. She's done so much for Brazil and women's soccer in Brazil, and we tip our hats to her. She's a legend.
Absolutely, 100%.
Have you checked out Total Football Analysis yet? TotalFootballAnalysis.com provides researched analysis on loads of football games, including women's football. Want to know why Miedemar scores so many goals? Do you want to explore how City have turned it around this season? Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and sign up to learn more about the beautiful game. We have a special discount for listeners of the Women's Soccer Show. At checkout, type WOSO10 to get a full year for €10. That's €40 off the yearly subscription. Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and type WOSO10 at checkout.
I am so excited. Talking about USA versus Australia, these are some of my favorite games to talk about because I love the US women's national team, obviously, and I have so much love for this Australia team, not just because of my love for Sam Kerr, because I love this team. So the fact that I get to watch a game and I get to watch both of them, and then we get to talk about both of them right now, I'm very excited. So for those of you listening, the second game will have already happened. While you're listening, we're going to talk about the first game. I think that overall, this was a really positive game for the U.S. I absolutely loved the lineup that we came out with. The average age of this lineup was 26 years old. That was the first time that the lineup had been this young since 2018, which hopefully is a nice little nod to then the win in 2019. So hopefully then that happens again in 2023. But so many new players were in training camp, huge overhaul of the lineup. It was such a fun game to watch. Like, a main takeaway for me was that I got to see this joy and this fun and this competitive spirit and this urgency on offense with the U.S. women's national team that has just kind of been missing over the past year.
I agree with you in some respect, in the fact that I do agree that it was really interesting to see the younger players coming up and like really cementing themselves. I mean, if we're talking about the score, it was 3-0. You saw Hatch get that goal under a minute, basically.
We have to talk about that because that was amazing. It was so beautiful to watch. I'll pause because I know you're about to make a point, but that was a great goal by Ashley Hatch. First 24 seconds, it was absolutely glorious. Keep going.
So it was nice to see some like fresh meat in the US score. I do think that the scoreline is a little bit flattering to the US. I don't think they played as well as a 3-0 win makes it out to be.
Just say it. Just say it. You feel like you're saying it nicely right now. Just say it, Allie. You think Australia played better.
I do. I 100% think Australia played better.
I'm just like, what game were you watching?
This one.
Okay, why? I want to know why. Because, I mean, we'll get on to Australia, but I'm curious because Australia did have more possession. They did control the game a little bit more. But from my perspective, from where I was watching, and I know I'm biased, but I really do think that the only negative that I saw coming out of the U.S. was that the way Vlatko had us playing was that there wasn't as much high press. The way we're used to seeing the U.S. play is that it's you lose the ball, high press immediately. Get the ball back, get control of the ball, keep the ball. That's how the U.S. plays. And in this game, that's not what happened. There were moments where we picked to high press, and otherwise we were generally falling off, sitting back and allowing Australia to have possession of the ball, which I don't think went well for us. I don't think it boded well for us. I don't think it fits in how we like to play, and I don't like that this was the game plan for Vlatko Andonovski. But I see that Australia had this possession and controlled the game because that was the U.S. game plan to allow them to possess.
See, you're just making my points for me. I think out of the 3 goals, you had one cracking goal, the first one. That was a cracking goal, but you caught 2 inexperienced defenders on the hop. Second goal, we disagree on because I don't think it was that good a goal.
It was a great goal. For those who are wondering, Midge Purse down the right sideline, beautiful cross into the middle, and Roosevelt puts it away one touch. Not sure how that's not a beautiful goal. It's a gorgeous goal.
It was a poacher's goal.
It was a gorgeous goal. It was the same goal Ellen White scored.
Yeah, and I don't think that was a good goal either. But
it was a great goal.
A poacher's goal. I don't like poacher's goals. And then you got a penalty, which, yeah, it was a penalty, but I just...
You got a penalty. It was one, but I don't want to count it. Look, I'm not saying that the penalty was a good goal, but even if it's 2-0, I still think that that's an accurate depiction of how the game went, frankly.
I think a 2-2 draw would have been a bit more of an accurate reflection. I just think Australia outplayed you, and the US got lucky. There, I said it. The USA got lucky.
Oh my God. It's so hard to be the best because whenever you win, everybody says you get lucky. Whenever you lose, everybody says the dynasty's dead. It's like we can't win over here. So we'll come on to Australia. I'll make 2 points about what you just said. First, Ashley Hatch, that goal, absolutely gorgeous. I just have to say this because I'm so happy for her. She's the Golden Boot winner in the NWSL. This is her first cap for the national team. Nerves had to have been so high for her. It was the whistle had just blown. They're racing on the field. Lynn Williams flicks the ball on towards her, and it's a bouncing ball. She's one-on-one with the keeper. It's an awkward angle. That is not an easy finish, and she still finds the composure to put it away. I'll also say, regarding all of the opportunities that Australia had, Casey Murphy, I wrote her name down because standout game. I saw a tweet that was like, so what do we think? Has Casey Murphy done enough to be the starting goalkeeper for the US? And obviously that's not going to happen based on one game. But if we're talking based on this game, heck yes. I tried not to swear there. I'm not sure why, but she had a stunning game. She made some absolute world-class saves, and it was really, she did save the US a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. It is because it's a new team and they are bringing in the youngsters that haven't played before. It just felt really disjointed. It felt really, like I said, there was an element of luck, because I think if Australia had managed, if your girlfriend Sam Kerr had managed to sort herself out, then it would have been a very different game. And I've seen teams like Australia before where they've played so well together, and it's not just possession, but it's like you can see them reading each other's movements and stuff like that, and it just not pay off.
So I do agree that it seemed a little disjointed from the US team. I just don't necessarily see that as a bad thing right now. Like you said, the majority of these players have never played together before. Like, this is a brand new crop of players. A lot of them have played together for the first time this camp. And if anybody, said after this game, like, oh, this team looked so, I'm so upset with how they played. It's like, well, that's not really the point of this game right now. The point is that this is the starting block, actually. This is the first time we're bringing in the new crop of young players, and this is the first time we're seeing all of them. And if this is the starting point, of course it's going to look a little disjointed. I don't really care, because that was always going to happen. And if this is where we're starting from, I'm really happy.
Okay, so we've talked about what went right for the US. Let's talk about what went wrong for Australia.
Oh, I just think that Casey Murphy came up really big, and Australia just simply couldn't put their shots away. I mean, you said it first. They looked incredible. Like, they have such a wonderful cohesion together, and they just couldn't put their shots away. I think I will say, to the Ashley Hatch first goal point, you mentioned they had two really young center backs, right? Two 19-year-olds starting together. And I don't know if that would have happened had there been other center backs in. It might have, it might not have, but that definitely, you have to look at that and say that could have been a reason for the US being able to score in the first 30 seconds of the game.
Yeah, for sure. I think if they'd had their more experienced center backs, they might not have got off to such a good start.
How do you feel that Australia's do you think that their woes are simply on defense and their offense played well? Because I kind of look at this game and I think Australia historically have been a team that lets in a lot of goals. And also they score a lot of goals. And the way they're going to win is they're just going to outscore you, really. And they couldn't put goals away. So when you're looking at Australia, is it like what went wrong? Where did it go wrong?
I mean, you have brought up an interesting point on our show notes, so I'm going to steal it, which was Van Egmond instead of Cooney Cross. I think Australia's midfield did them no favours, is the honest answer. As much as they played as a unit, I think their midfield did not do them any favours, because you had Emily Van Egmond, who played for West Ham last season, left us last season, is now back at Orlando Pride, but because of visa issues, COVID issues, whatever, hasn't really played back at Pride yet. So she hasn't played competitive football since May of this year. And you're going to bring in her over Cooney Cross, who has been playing competitive football, I think it was a nod to the old guard that maybe didn't need to happen. Because you've already got that, like, older presence in the fact that you had Tamika Yallop as captain. Now, Tamika got her 100th cap in this game.
True. And then you've got Caitlin Forward, who's so experienced. You've got Sam Kerr sitting all the way in front of her. Yes, you've still got young players like Fowler, but you've got young but experienced players like Ellie Carpenter and Steph Catley also sitting back there. So you're not lacking experience across the field.
So basically what we're saying is we didn't need Emily Van Egmond and justice for Cooney Cross.
I'll be very interested to see when they play next what the lineups look like, because I would bet money that the US lineup is going to look very, very different, starting with, I think that Christy Mewis is going to get a lot of minutes, and I think we're going to see some young players like Ashley Sanchez and Morgan Weaver, who barely got any minutes in this game. I think we're going to get to see a huge overhaul, completely different lineup, probably even Jane Campbell in goal, like completely different. And I'm curious if we'll see something similar from Australia or if we'll get to see a big change.
I think Australia are going to use this more to mesh the lineup because we've got the Asia Cup coming up. The Asia Cup is in January, so they're going to want to make sure that they've got that on lock. So I think this is a bit like what England are doing, which is that they are cementing their starting 11. Whereas I know, is it the CONCACAF you've got coming up, US? But either way, like, they are starting their journey. I feel like Australia are in the middle of their journey.
It's a good point. It's two teams at a very different place, and it makes you wonder, though, because of that, like, how much better can Australia get? Are they almost at their peak already? Are they almost at their ceiling of how much they can gel and how good they can be? And then comparatively, like, where's the ceiling for the US? Like, how much higher can Australia go and how much higher can the US go?
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to think there's more growth in Australia. Like, I've got such a soft spot for the Aussies, so I'm hoping there is some more growth in there, but I do think they're sort of on the levelling trajectory now.
Yeah, I think that we're seeing a lineup that's very similar, at least when we're talking key players, to what we're going to see in the World Cup, which is fine with me because they are fun to watch. So this is not actually the only episode that you can listen to this week for the Women's Soccer Show. Allie, do you want to tell the people what I'm talking about?
Yes, so we are giving you more content. Like, you thought this was enough. We are giving you more content on our Patreon. We are bringing back the new segment that was so many seasons ago.
It was one season ago. Calm down.
But we're changing it up. Instead of just giving you the hard facts, we're also telling you what we think, because as if you don't get enough of it on this podcast. But it's short, it's snappy, it's less than 15 minutes. It's something to listen to on your way to work and just bang. So get on our Patreon. The link is, Sarah,
Patreon.com/The WOSO Show. It is the same news segment, but with us bantering, arguing, discussing, which we love.
Absolutely. So I'll bring a topic, Sarah will bring a topic. We might only have one topic, but we will dive into, it's more about what's going on in the world of football than matches.
That'll drop every Tuesday, while our regular episode drops every Wednesday, as you know, and we'll put it up on our socials all the time. So check that out. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been the Women's Soccer Show. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Allie.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.